Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt man! All right! Episode 263 of Shirt Show! We're talking with Megan and Ryan from P&M Apparel in Iowa. Let's go!
Hey guys, what's up? My name is Dylan. I am the owner of Upstate Merch and the host of the Shirt Show podcast. My guests today were Megan and Ryan from P&M Apparel. They kind of have a cool story because they are third generation with the print shop. So their grandparents owned it, their mom owned it, and now they own it. So it's kind of cool to see that progression, someone who grew up in a print shop and then eventually takes it over. We talked a lot about standing out and going out to trade shows and things that aren't in our industry and meeting people and getting clients that way. We also talked about some outreach stuff. Again, we got a lot into their family and how they got to where they are and what they've learned not to do. And also funny, what was the thing that they thought was, oh, that's not a big deal. And then when they take over, they find out, oh yeah, this really is a big deal. We also kind of got into some like vulnerabilities as far as like shop owners and like what's on our shoulders and like what tasks we need to take on and how we need to be open about these kind of things. Megan and Ryan are also two very large contributors into our Discord. They're in the channel all the time. They're spreading knowledge, and they're also asking a bunch of questions from the rest of the people. So if you listen to this show and don't know about our Discord channel, check it out. There's a link in the YouTube. There's a link on our Instagram. You can go to our website, shirtshowofficial.com, and join up there as well. It's all free. You don't have to be a nerdy gamer. It's just a thing you sign up for, and it's a chat channel, and it has all these different channels that you can get in that have to do with our industry. And it's really cool. Everyone in there is really respectful. And we have a strong rule of no talking shit or no trolling, or you will be kicked out. So it's a safe space, I promise. If you enjoyed listening to this show, the best possible thing you can do to support us is share the show. Spread the word on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you are, LinkedIn. Let us know what you think. If you like, subscribe, all those things, it really helps us out. It really lets me know like, hey, I'm doing this and people are, taking something from it. I sit down here for a couple hours and shoot the shit with you guys, and it'd be cool if you could kind of take a second and just hit that button for me. It would really help me out. If you're feeling extra generous and you want to support the show, then go get some Shirt Show merch. Get a shirt, get a pin, get a sticker, whatever. Speaking of supporting the show, it wouldn't be possible without our sponsors. It all starts with a screen. Whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. Stop wasting your precious press time and get the right tool for the right job. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, greatfuckingscreens.com, or ffffrank.com. I have 100 screens I just sent out to Frank to get restretched, and I know he's going to knock it out of the park, and I'm going to have a bunch of sweet new tools. Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way more funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals and equipment make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Right now is a great time to check them out because they have a new monthly giveaway where you have a chance to win $250 in product credit. Head to easyway.com/giveaway to enter today. EasyWay is the easiest way, baby. Graphics is your source for production-ready digital art and remote art staffing. They can help any size shop from just starting out to enterprise level. Looking to add a hero to your art department? Check them out at graphxsource.com. Also an amazing place to get your digitizing done, and they do sew-outs for you as well. SNS Activewear and Alpha Broder are integrating to become your premier partner for the apparel industry with one website, one purchase order, and 14 distribution centers, and over 100 beloved brands. You can streamline your ordering and hit free freight faster than ever. SNS has 1 to 2 day shipping with the lowest error rate in the industry. Don't forget, they have combined net term limits to benefit your business like never before. Be sure to order your blanks from ssactivewear.com. Today's episode is brought to you by American Apparel, makers of the iconic 2001. Soft, fitted, and always in style, this shirt has been the go-to for brands, bands, and print shops for decades. If you want a shirt people actually want to wear, check out the 2001. For over 90 years, Stahls has been the leading choice among apparel decorators for their heat transfer materials, heat press equipment, and custom transfer services. Not only do they offer some of the best products, but they are always looking to innovate and educate on our industry on all things print. Head over to stahls.com to order your transfers and check them out on YouTube to be taught a thing or two. Again, if you give us a like, comment, that would rule. I love hearing from you guys. Send me a DM on Instagram. It's me who's responding to you. I'd love to hear your take on the show. And if it means anything to you, that'd be great. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Enjoy the episode. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hi.
Hi.
We're here. We did it.
Thanks for hopping on with me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I mean, Megan talked me into it when she was hanging out with us at the airport.
I heard she
I
strong-armed
didn't do
you.
shit.
She
I
did.
did not.
There was a threaten of a life, or I didn't get the whole story.
Mhm.
But
Cool. So just like two giants pitted against me right now is
Right.
what's happening here.
She's
Cool.
like, why are we not on the show yet? She just felt very strongly about it.
that sounds
like
like
you
her.
guys-
That sounds like her.
You guys have traveled the world together for years, and
Mhm.
and still we're just sitting here.
Yep.
That's how it goes sometimes.
For me.
So me and Ryan, we met a couple years ago. How many years ago was that now? Is it
3
3 or so?
I think so.
I don't know. Time's not real,
That's
so I don't
also
keep
true.
track. I kind of want to get into that a little. Well, I guess well, let's start here. Who are you guys, and why are you here? Is the question, and then we'll get into that stuff.
That's the question. Why are we
Why
here
are we
on
here?
Earth?
I mean, as
Anyway.
beings and
no.
particles and molecules. Like, why are we here? What is our?
What's
I am Megan, and he is Ryan, and we own P&M Apparel, a screen printing and embroidery and all that shop in Iowa, Flyover, Iowa.
Just Iowa.
Just Iowa.
Hey, it's pretty great. We have one of the fastest growing cities in America.
The only thing I know about Iowa is corn, right? You guys have a lot of corn,
Corn and pigs.
and the Slipknot album.
Yeah, we have more pigs than people.
Yeah.
Is that
right? And what we have Slipknot.
Yep.
Right, that's what I said. The Slipknot album is the only thing I know Iowa from.
We have Caitlin Clark. Everybody knows somebody from Slipknot in Iowa, or knows somebody who knows somebody. You're only 2 degrees. Like, I know where.
Well, there's 85 members, so.
Well, and one of the founders or whatever lives in our town, or his dad does, or I don't know. Everybody's got some connection.
Nice. Do you guys run around hitting kegs and stuff? Because
almost exclusively, when we're not screen printing shirts, that's pretty much all there is to do in Iowa is just hit kegs with basable bats.
Nice. It's the best album. Iowa is the best album they got. So I mean, it works out. Anyway, how was the competition in Iowa? Is there a lot of big shops there?
There's some.
Yeah, there's some decent ones. There's a couple there's the one that Game One bought out, so now that's a national company. But there's a couple that probably do more than us, but we're probably in the middle range. I feel like everybody kind of acts really competitive. You talk to so many shops that are oh, we're good buddies with all the shops in the area. We don't have that at all. Nobody wants to share anything.
I think that's just Ryan's personality. That doesn't have anything to do with P&M.
That's true.
We've got one shop that's shop buddies that we help each other out and everything, and trying to facilitate more of a camaraderie and hey, everybody needs to be not naked, so we don't.
You know what, Megan? Fuck them. They don't want to be friends with you guys, then fuck them. Who cares? Yeah, I'm not. You don't have to. They don't have to be your friends. If that's the case, if they want to be closed door, then squish them. Who cares?
Yeah.
Well,
whatever. No big deal.
We hosted a conference called Flyover Con. Was that last year or the year before?
It was last year because we went to South Carolina this year instead.
But it was the entire purpose was to get people in the Midwest talking to each other, and I don't think we had any really local people to us even come, or even people that we would consider competition.
Yeah, we had some people farther out in the state or in a couple other states around, and it was cool, and it was we were able to teach them a lot more than information we got.
What was the whole purpose of it?
To create that camaraderie and to be hey, we don't have to fight against each other. We can, support each other and raise the tide together. So there were a lot of really small shops that came that really needed to learn from a bigger shop. So that worked really well. And it was a good experience. We'll probably do it again, I don't know, next year or something.
Nice.
Try to do it every other year.
What's the big push out there? Like, I know my buddy Matt at Relentless was talking to me before about how he's in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Well,
we're
Ryan,
friends.
you know Matt. Yeah.
Yep.
And he was saying that they were trying to kind of have a push towards, I guess, like the corn community, as far as like giant farmers.
Yeah,
and like,
Ag is huge. And
maybe I shouldn't have said the corn community. I mean, people could take that different ways, but like,
show
you know what I
East
mean?
Coast.
Like, yeah, I'm just saying, like, you know, if it's got to be a huge market because there's these massive farms and stuff. It's like they have to have all these employees that need stuff all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And there's a lot of corporate headquarters out here,
Insurance.
Insurance companies and stuff like that are really trying to, it's like way cheaper to come out here than to have their headquarters in LA or something like that.
Mhm.
So that's a big one. I don't know. We don't really tend to go after something as big as like Principal or something like that. But we have a lot of corporate clients that we spend a lot of time on.
Do you guys ever attend the like the industry events for those people? You know what I mean? Like go to like their trade shows or stuff like that
Yeah.
because you're like, hey, I'm kind of in your backyard.
Megan took
Yeah.
one of our account managers to one, but it was like specific to this company. It was like their sales conference. And so like all the big wigs were there, but they have something like 6 or 7 companies under their umbrella. But Megan went and made some really good contacts.
Yeah, we went to St. Louis and it was we were there for a couple of days, but it was all just like blue collar type. I think they handle equipment manufacturing and stuff like that. And that was it was cool to be able to be in the client's hemisphere, you know,
Mhm.
and learning more about what their needs are and what we could do there. So
Do you want to do more of those, or is that kind of like a one-off?
totally, I would totally do more of those
For sure.
because not only are you hitting up the actual client that you're trying to serve and serving them better because they're a national company, but also they had their own vendors from other people they work with. And so then you get a chance to get in front of them and pitch them on different stuff too and keep growing that. So it's good.
The funny thing is like I've talked for a couple of years now of like, oh, I want to go to this like convention for this type of company. And I've talked to, you know, I won't name names, but like shop friends have been like, yo, you know, what's hitting really hard right now is like HR conferences, because those are the people who make those decisions of like the ones who actually order the shirts, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Or order the apparel or all these other things. And you don't think about that because it's not always like the sexiest of a company. You know what I mean? It's like you said, like an insurance company. You're not like, dude, you know, I'm in this to fucking like get all the shirts from Aflac or some shit. You know what I mean? Like you're like you're looking at these bands or these sexy companies that you want to do stuff for. But the thing is these are the ones who are like, oh, hey, like 3 emails of like, hey, here's our logo. We need, you know, 5,000 polos and we need X amount of shirts. We need backpacks, like stuff that we give away to new employees and stuff. And it's like, oh, this is where like the good money is.
Yeah, pretty consistently,
You know what I mean?
our like top clients we're working directly with their HR and like helping the new hires get whatever they need as far as like polos and specifically like when we're using our web stores to do that is like an easy selling point. It's like let us take this off of your plate so that you can focus on all your other HR stuff.
Yeah. This one client that we went to their conference in St. Louis, it was like they went from, it was like one guy did one shirt one time and now they're our top client and did like in January alone, it was like $100,000 in promo with us. And so like January is where we start to slow down. And so that's like a huge boost of just, like you said, it's not sexy, but it like paying the bills is hella sexy.
I was going to say paying the bills is sexy as hell. Like that to me really gets me revved up. All bricked up over fucking HR companies. Yeah, I mean it's weird. Like it's hard to, I feel like it's like a grown up move. You know what I mean? To be like, all right, well, we're going to go after this type of client, or we're going to go like have a plan. Like I'm just straight up like, oh, you know who we do a good amount of business with is like tradespeople. And it's like, all right, I want to go to a builders conference. But the other part of that is like me personally, if I just was going by myself, I feel like I would be all motivated and get there. And then I would just be the fucking weirdo in the corner, like staring at everybody because I'm not the person necessarily to make the first move with people I don't know.
Yeah.
Like if I go to a print show, it's easier because I'm like, oh, I know that person. I know of that person. And you just start
And you
having a
can talk the
conversation.
shop too.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I just go to a builder's thing, it's like, do I wear like work boots? And do I walk in and I'm like, hey, like, you know, the Steve Buscemi thing with a skateboard over his shoulder. And he's like, hey, young kids or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I would have a harder time having that conversation, but me and Christina have had talks about it and she's very like bubbly, open, talk to kind of person. And it's like, I don't think I would connect with anybody at the show necessarily because I feel like they would be set on, oh, I want to go to this booth and talk to this person and whatever. I would just go with like a sling bag and like attend it and walk around and kind of be like shy-ish. And then it's the after stuff of like, oh, everyone's at these bars or everyone's at this function or this thing. And then you just like sit next to some dude at a bar and just start a conversation. And then they're like, oh yeah, I own this company that has a subset of like 35 companies or something. You're like, oh, cool. And then start working with them. Like that's the idea. Like that's the plan.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like, we were very 1-2 punch with that because the account manager, so we have 3 account managers and then a sales director, and our account manager, all of them are divided up into kind of like, you know, different industries or whatever. And so the one that I went with, she's very, very specifically like blue collar type stuff. And so she can go in and kind of almost sass them, like things that I would not
she like doms
like talk to, like soft doms them. And, but it's like they respond well to that. You know, it's like they don't know how to freaking use their phones or anything. And so she's like, just give me your phone. I'll get you taken care of. What do you want? You know, and just like sasses them and then they love it. Versus I'm more going around and hitting up the other vendors and trying to be a little bit big picture about it. And so you kind of need the 1-2 punch of like the introvert extrovert. And then, the afters. I mean, we started talks with like this huge, it's like a battery company or something, that's global. And we just started talking because I was sitting next to the guy at the bar and we were talking like about our kids or whatever, and kind of rolling on that front. And then that grows to like, okay, well, let me get you in touch with this person.
I'm not trying to be like controversial here or anything, but it's like a real question. And I see it with certain things as it's like, do you feel that, I'm not trying to be sexist, but it's like, if you were to go to that kind of company or that kind of trade show, do you feel like, say you and Ryan went with a plan and you were like, all right, I'm going to go talk to this set because it's a bunch of dudes. And you're like, I could easily sell these dudes. Ryan walks over there and be like, what the fuck are you doing over here? You know what I mean? Like, do you feel like that's a real thing? Because I feel like that's 100% a real thing.
Megan, let
there's
me
a
answer
company
this one
local. There's a company local. I know his answer. There's a company local to me that's like, it's this group of women. It's like a women-owned shop. They do like vinyl signs and stuff. They don't really do printing. They kind of farm stuff out for that or whatever. And they have like every local male-dominated like construction companies and like all this other stuff. And it's like, it's totally because they like sweet talk them into working with them. And in a good way. That's what I mean. Like they're fucking in it. Like they know what they're doing. And it's just like, I can't compete with that. You know what I mean? Like I can't, unless I super bro down with these guys, I feel like I'm not going to win them over in any way.
I feel like we really played that card hard. I mean, we're like 80% women around here. We make jokes that up until last year, Ryan was the only cishet white man. And so it's like, if the need called for that specific person, then like Ryan would
You will call him in.
Yeah, it's time to call him the bro. But you know, like one of our account managers, her thing is like schools and sports. And so she's had to like train all of these dudes who are used to just talking to like a PE coach turned salesman about how to do uniforms. She can like sit them down and be like, hey, I am like a 2-time college athlete. I can run circles around all of these other guys and what they do. But it takes like proving yourself a little bit more.
Mhm.
And so I don't know if that's what this shop that you're talking about is doing, is like, yeah, there's the sweet talk, but there's also like, I'm going to prove that I'm worthy to be in this space.
I think
And
I think that
then-
they can hold their own for sure. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they're definitely skilled at what they do. Like they do a lot of like installs and like vinyl wraps and this and that. But I think they do have to back it up with what they're saying. I'm just saying it's easier to start that conversation. A lot of the sales and a lot of the difficulties, and I've noticed this with like, I mean, I've done sales obviously for forever. We all have. But really pushing toward outbound. Megan, we kind of talked about this a little bit when we were together a week ago, but it's just like the breaking ground, like the icebreaker conversation is like the biggest thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like if you can get someone who's good at outbound to just like get somebody even a little bit on the hook and interested in your company, that's like by far the hardest part. Like writing an invoice and making mock-ups is fucking nothing. That's like, you're already most of the way there.
Right.
Like as long as your pricing's okay, then cool. It's literally just getting somebody to be like, yeah, I'll give you a shot or I'll whatever. And I feel like that's in the kind of person. And it's like, that's my biggest fear with some of these things and going face to face. Cause I say sweet talk, but like I can sweet talk a company into working with us by just knowing what I'm talking about. Like someone calls and I'm like, oh, you could do this or use this shirt because of this. And I give all the stuff I've learned and whatever. I send samples and they're like wooed by the fact of like, they feel confident that they can give me the order and it'll get done the way it's supposed to, or in a better way than they've ever had because I know what I'm talking about. But if I'm to meet people in a public setting, they're like, who's this bridge troll? And why is he asking me riddles? You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like it's a different dynamic. And like, if I was with, like I said, with like Christina and she's bubbly and could talk to people, I would just almost be like, you know, like holding her back and be like, all right, go. And then like, she would get all these people and come back to me with like fucking business cards and be like, oh, I talked to X number of people. And then I could come over and be like, oh, hey, hon, how's it going? And then they're like, I just start talking the lingo that I know. And then they're already on board because she was the icebreaker.
I think part of that, like how you can combat that is like people love to talk about themselves. And so not knowing the lingo, I don't think is necessarily a downside. I think like talking to someone and just being authentic with them about like, you know, what is it that you guys do? You know, where do you see yourself in X years with this company? And then kind of just weasel your way, not weasel, but kind of get that icebreaker in.
I'm just putting it out there, Ryan. We know each other and we know of our own existence. It's like we walk up to some dudes in a setting, public setting, and we're like, hey, tell me about yourself.
Tell me about you.
Is someone going to open? Yeah. Hey, you know what? I saw you from across the room and I'm saying, you know, tell me about you. I want to hear more about you. They're going to be like, all right, cool. Well, did you just slip something in my drink? And am I going to be penniless in the alley shortly?
On that front, I probably am safer, at least because you guys are scary, intimidating in person until you get to know them. But I think people just want to like know that you've got them. You know, they want it. You're not really selling shirts. You're selling like that. Like, hey, we're not going to drop the ball on you.
Right.
Care,
it's the nice, comfy blanket, like the warm hug of "we got you." That's what they're interested in.
And like, you know, we've got shops in the area that people will come in and be like, oh yeah, they gave me my stuff like 3 months late in a garbage bag.
Not
and
folded,
so
it
like,
smelled bad.
Yeah.
Like,
and so they're our best salespeople. And then we just have to be like, we got you. We're not going to do any of that to you. So
it must
we're
just be an Iowa thing. I've never
stuff.
heard anybody getting shirts in a garbage bag.
I don't know how you stay in business while doing that. Yeah. But it works really in our favor because then we're like, yeah, all we have to do, the bar is there, and that's not all we're going to do, but it's easy to go above the bar when it's in the Panama Canal.
Or like, I've been doing cold outreach a lot. And so it's like, people will be like, oh, I haven't heard from this other company in 3 weeks and they were going to do all my stuff. And it's like, okay, so the bar is me reaching out and like communicating well.
Yeah.
If I talk to you within a day, you're already golden.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they just want to be treated like humans.
I had one recently, and I get this every so often, where we had I won't again name names, but I had a brewery come to me and want to work with us. And I was like, oh, cool. They're established. They got, like whatever, like 6 locations. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. I'm excited to work with them. And then they got talking to me about stuff, and they're like, yeah, I use so-and-so. And I knew the shop and I'm friends with them. And I'm like, fuck. Like I instantly was like, oh, I'm going to have to tell them no. Like I'm going to have to tell them we're not working with them. But then they started telling me why they were changing.
Mhm.
And I was like, I get it. And I want to help them out, but I still feel shitty. You know what I
Do you
mean?
feel like you're stealing, or like there's a loyalty there?
I have a general rule that if I am going after somebody and then I find out while I'm going after them that they're already working with a shop that I know,
Mhm.
then I instantly back off. And I might let them know. I mean, be like, hey, not accidentally, but like I reached out to a client that I found is like one of yours. Like, I'm sorry. I just am obviously doing outreach and whatever. But if someone comes to me, then I feel like it's fair game because you fell short somewhere with them.
Yeah.
Where they are looking for somebody regardless. So like if I say no to them, they're just going to go to somebody else anyway, because the problem they had with you still is a thing.
It just seems like it would get tricky because like so many more shops. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what sucks.
Yeah.
But again, like I know everybody, but I might not be friends with everybody. And I'm not saying like I'll take jobs from people that I'm like, fuck that guy. But like, I mean, I more than likely will take jobs from that person that I say, fuck that guy. But I don't really have that many of those,
Right.
I generally am just going out blind with outbound of like, hey, this is the market we want to go after. And then I might never hear or know what the other shop was at all. It might just be like, they're like, yeah, cool. We want to work with you. And then like we move forward. And I think in all of my years of doing this, I've heard from maybe 1 or 2 other shops that are like, hey, we see you're doing so-and-so's work now. They were ours. And it's like, again, I might be like, all right, well, I'm happy to you tell them like, we can't fit you in our schedule anymore or something so that they go back. But it's like, why did they want to work with me in the first place?
That's what I'm saying. Like you clearly were not meeting the need that they had for whatever that is.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a bonus of us not having a lot of camaraderie around here is like, I don't feel that guilt because it's like, if you can't do what they're asking, then.
This one just wasn't like a quality issue because I knew this person wouldn't have a quality issue or necessarily a whatever. It was turnaround only.
Okay.
And I was like, ugh, like, I don't know if they're just in a weird rut where they're backed up because of something or whatever. And I feel bad like taking this client on, but it's like, they were like, oh, we weren't getting our orders for like, like 8-9 weeks or something.
Jeez,
and I'm like,
see, like that's, I mean, I get it. But like Grandpa always said, he's the guy that started this place, that like, you're not in the business of friends and family. So it's like, again, if they're taking 8 to 9 weeks, like that's on them for customer service. Would you want, maybe say something like, hey dude, you gotta step it up on like people are not.
I would be gutted. I would be gutted if another print shop reached out to me and were like, hey, you're fucking up and you need to fucking get this done.
You can phrase it some way else though.
Be like, hey dude, you are dropping the ball hard here.
I would be gutted, but then I would be like, okay, I gotta fix something. I wouldn't be like, I give up,
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying that like that would suck. Like that would not be.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if it helps you get better, and it's like, if that's what you need to hear to get better, think about their shop and, if they're your friends, you want them to get better. You want their shop to succeed. So
yeah.
Sometimes hard conversations have to happen for change to happen.
Well, and if you're doing 24-hour turnarounds in some of these print-on-demand shops, then it's like, I'm not saying everybody's expecting Amazon level speed, but like 8 to 9 weeks, that's a long time for shirts.
Yeah, that's like 2 months.
Yeah. So I don't
know. regular sized order. I don't know. Well, anyway, one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you guys on was 1, it was overdue, and 2, me and Ryan, we did the Gildan board together, but we had a fun time doing that. But I think you guys just have an interesting story too, especially after talking to you, Megan, kind of getting to know you a little bit more at the last event we were at, is you guys have grown up in a print shop. Not a lot of people have that. Like you kind of were like, hey, I'm here and whatever. And then you eventually took it over. And now you guys are the owners. So there's a lot of things there to unpack of like, what the fuck is that like? And
it's weird.
All these other things. Well, I mean, a part of it, like I look at it too, is like I have a son who's, going to be 15 and I have a daughter who's 13 and they have never at all shown interest in the print shop. They've never worked here. It's not like I'm here late and they're here like on the floor crawling around or they're playing around the shop or whatever. Like they literally just come here, go in my office, eat my snacks and leave. Like there's never whatever. But, my son does show interest now of like, oh, well, when I'm 15, I'll get a job at dad's place. Not necessarily because he wants to, just because it's like, well, then I don't have to go like put my resume in or work at a pizza place or something. He's just like, I'll work with dad. But I don't see them at all wanting to do this.
Hey, we didn't want to do it either.
See them.
We didn't want to do it either.
No, but
that's the question is like, what did you guys want to do? Were you just like felt the weight and the obligation of, I guess we have to take on the fucking, like you both did it. It's not like one of you was like, I want to. And the other one's like, no, you both are strapped in.
So I started first and I went to school for graphic design and wanted to like be a big time graphic design, art director, whatever type person. I thought, printing t-shirts for whatever reason in my brain was kind of like lowbrow design. I needed to be an artist. And
you were like, I'm going to go to Pratt and I'm going to.
My big thing was like, I wanted to climb in the magazine world. And, I think I took the right path.
I think you might have won out on that one.
I don't know if you know about magazines, but they're not doing great.
Yeah.
And so then I had been working, I worked at like one of the top publishing companies in the country is based in Iowa. And so I worked there for a while. I worked at a couple different marketing firms and even did university work, but then had an opportunity where like, I can't even remember what the last job was, but it was like I had gotten laid off or something because, hey, print industry isn't doing great. And my mom just needed a graphic designer. And so we both kind of signed up for this being very short term. And because she did not want me to feel pressured. She felt pressured because like she had gotten divorced. She was a single mom with 3 kids. And so she just needed a job. And so she came in and was like trying to resurrect this business that like my grandparents were kind of being the bad customer service that we were talking about earlier. And so she really brought it up to the level that of service that it needs to be. But was very much felt trapped and wanted, to make sure that I knew that I had choices and I didn't have to be here forever or anything. And then, I got pregnant with my son, and then that's where Ryan comes in.
That's me.
Your turn.
I hope that's not where Ryan comes in.
No.
You guys got more Iowa issues than I thought.
No. So I went to school for electronic media production. I wanted to make music videos for a living. And then transferred into social work because those are the 2 compatible areas.
A lot of those people need social work, I feel like.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, I was working before and after school care, and that kind of like fizzled out. And Megan got knocked up by some guy. No, not
my husband. It's my husband.
And they needed just a body at the shop to facilitate the maternity leave. And I was looking for another job at the time, thought, great, I can step in and kind of help out the family and while I'm looking for another job. And now it's 10 years in, still looking for another job. We'll see.
It feels like a little bit of a universe thing, to be honest.
For sure.
Like the way everything worked out all at once there seems a little sus. Like,
a little sus. It's like our mom actually just planned it that way.
That's what it seems like. You know what I mean? The other thing, though, too, is I didn't realize that it was your grandparents that started it. I thought it was your parents that started it. So you guys are like 3rd level in.
So P&M are our grandparents, Phyllis and Melvin. And they started the business
obviously
in
what are they, fucking 300 years old?
The oldest old people names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they started with a 2-head Barrett in their basement 37 years ago. And like they were just trying to
That they hand dug on the prairie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just trying to make $300 a week. And like that was their goal. And yeah, now we're doing a little bit better than that.
So the first time we broke 1 million, we brought them back and did like champagne and everything. And so that now that's become a tradition that every time we hit 1 million in sales, we do champagne, and we just keep trying to like,
hell yeah,
get that to be earlier and earlier every year. So
I think the other part of that question is like, you know, what do you do going from your okay, so it was your grandparents and then your mom came in.
Mm-hmm. She bought it from them.
And then so did your mom run it? You said she got divorced. I'm guessing she just ran it by herself then? Like she was the sole owner after she bought it from them?
She for like 10 or so years, and then she married our stepdad. And so he kind of was like a quiet, like he technically owned part of it, but he couldn't tell you how to run anything in here. He was more just like to support accounting and taxes and stuff like that.
Right. And then you guys, but it's like, what did your grandparents grow to? Like, at what point did your grandparents plateau, I guess? Like, did they ever plateau or were they on a constant growth?
No.
Because you said your mom came in and saved the day a little bit.
Yeah, when she came in, they were in a lot of debt. And so she dug them out of debt big time. And I don't know a lot of those details because like we were still kids when that happened. But
there were several times where like she did not take a paycheck because she had to make sure like bills were paid. She had to make sure vendors were paid. Other people were paid first before her.
So it wasn't necessarily that the company was doing bad. It was just that it wasn't managed to the degree that she came in and started managing.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's where we started learning all of our like how to reclaim and screen print and all of that, was because she would just need help, didn't want to hire somebody per se, and so it was just easy to.
Well, why would you hire when you have free labor of children?
I think she still paid us, probably, maybe, I don't know.
Being able to have a place to sleep and eat.
Yeah, but like my when I was like 16, it's like my grandparents were still around, and so my grandma was like notorious for just being like a slave driver and would come back, and if I was sitting down for a minute, and we didn't have air conditioning in that building, and so it'd be like 300-degree dryer or whatever, and it's like 95 degrees, 120% humidity, and she would just be like, "Get up, keep moving," and she would just like, "You're not allowed to have air conditioning," and then she would go up to the front of the house and into the air conditioning and take a nap, like right
look at you through the glass.
Yeah. Like customers walking in, she's just got her like head down, little snooze, little siesta.
Perfect.
So things have progressed since then.
So again, like your mom takes over. At what point in company growth, your grandparents went from, you said, a 2-head Barrett into what? Yeah. What equipment did they have? Like, how did they grow? Did they get to a certain amount of employees?
They grew to a 6-head Tajima, a 2-head Barrett, and then they were doing like the chenille patches for like Letterman jackets.
So they were mostly embroidery then.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was P&M monogramming and actually we're still licensed, I think, as P&M monogramming, doing business as P&M Apparel. But yeah, they were strictly embroidery. And then our mom came back. Our parents got divorced. She moved back to Iowa and needed a job, and so was working at P&M, and lasted one winter of driving from Ankeny to Webster City, about an hour drive one way. Lasted one winter and said, we gotta change this. And so we were doing contract embroidery for a bigger shop than us. And they owned a building across from them that they were like, "Oh, just move in here. It'll be beneficial. Like we'll contract screen print for you. You can contract embroider for us." And so they did that. And then eventually we just kind of grew to take over that entire space.
And she brought screen printing in what, like 98?
98 or 99, right around there.
There's like cute pictures of Ryan, and he's only like 4.5 feet tall and a full head of hair.
It's wild to think about.
Only 4.5 feet tall?
Yeah, and no, 4.5. And he's, standing next to our first screen printing equipment, learning how to screen print.
Nice.
And then he got a little bit bigger.
So the question is that like, your mom takes over, and then she obviously was doing great because she got it to where she was brought on a whole new department and got that going. And then you guys show up, we say you did it on a whim, but your mom actually pulled you guys in. That's what you're learning right now in this this therapy session. What do you guys do when you come in? Do you just start doing graphic design and then Ryan fills in, blah, blah, blah? At what point is it, okay, we're thinking about doing this for real? And
so when I started, we had one salesperson, her, my mom, and one screen printer. And even at that point, she was like, sometimes I might not be able to pay you. Just I'll get you back next time, whatever. And so she's really working on the financial part of it. My goal was to really elevate art and make art be like part of the product. It was around the time that like we had all these people trying to do the like custom ink type, foreign print where it's like just plop your design on there, and
I'm so glad that kind of went away.
Yeah, and so we had all these people calling and insisting like, this is the way you have to go. This is the way the industry's going, and I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely.
I was around for that where it was like every print shop owner, big, small, whatever, was looking into how do I get a custom builder on my website.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that fucking died hard because it was just obnoxious. After, like, everyone realized, like, oh, these people are not artists, and this is all dog shit.
Exactly.
Yep. And it's like, reflecting directly on your business.
It's just like random clip art stacked on top of each other, and every shirt looks the same.
You don't want to look like the same. If you're a team or something, you don't want to look identical to the team you're playing or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, we really wanted to put an impact on custom and focusing on the client as an individual and being really unique. And I think that started to evolve then in the customer service of how we were doing everything, not just art. And then when Ryan came on, Ryan really wanted to focus a lot on bringing the technology more up to date. Because at this point, when Ryan came on, it's 2015, we're still using the press that we got in 1998. And
still
and
using triplicate forms, still using.
Yeah.
I would say additionally, like, education was a huge part for me, and like reaching out into the community, just because it's like, as far as technology, education, if you're not learning and growing, like, you're bound to plateau and you're falling behind everybody else who's out there getting the knowledge.
What were you using for that? Like, what were you going after? Was it YouTube stuff? Was it books? Was it what?
So I really stressed on like getting us to conferences. So like
ISS was the first one, right?
Yeah. And so like making sure that everybody got to go to this conference and really pick the brains of other people. But as far as what I was using online, Reddit, there's a screen printing subreddit, and just kind of like asking the questions of, where are you guys getting this knowledge from? What's the best place to do this? Would have been nice if there was a Discord back then. You just had to wait to drop that one. But yeah, like currently I use the Shirt Show Discord on a daily basis. Whether it's helping somebody else out or
plug the Discord.
Plug the Discord.
Yeah.
Follow down below. Discord.
Links on this video always. It's on the website. It's on everything. Join up if you're not already.
But yeah, I mean, we're on that every day, either helping people out or asking questions. So really just getting into the community, I think, was a big goal of mine. Just because I knew that we didn't know everything, and I knew there was other screen printing shops, and so it's like they might have gone through the problems that we're going through, and vice versa.
I think the thing that people don't realize is it's like it literally is a group of thousands of people that are all trying to do the same shit.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is, the kind of people that got to this situation that are in the same kind of like predicaments are generally the same kind of people. Like, how many times have you heard from a print shop where it's like, oh, I started out as a band, or I started out as this? It's like, we're all the same fucking human with just different flesh suits. Like, go talk to each other. And that's the thing is, like, I got into this from the band world where that's what you do. You go to a venue and you make friends with the other bands. You sit out back, you do stupid shit, and then you go on and you play, and then you go back out and you do stupid shit, and then you help each other load up, and then you leave, and then you go to the next place and you do the same thing over again. it's like when I started doing the screen printing thing, it was the first thing I started doing is be like, who else can I hang out with that does this too? And then you make these small groups and you make these like, I mean, now it's like text groups and discords and this and this. And it's like, I don't have to necessarily know anything. Like I have people that come in my office that work here that are like, there was a question about puff stuff yesterday or whatever. And we do puff, but we don't do a lot of puff. Someone asked a question about it or whatever. And I was like, I will find out. I literally went on a text group and I went on whatever. And I was like, we're doing this. What do you guys think? And it was like, boop, 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 like instant answers. And it was just like, okay, cool. And I'm not just saying I want a cheat sheet answer. I want friends that I trust to like talk me through it or tell me the downfalls or tell me the upsides or whatever. And it's like, it's so like you guys were saying you were trying to start this thing where everyone in your community would come together and you guys could bounce off each other and whatever. It's like that rules. Like just keep doing that because, you know, the people who stay in their own little bubble are the ones that I walk into a shop every once in a while that's like a local thing, or I'm in a town and I see it's a screen printing shop and I walk in and I see they're printing on wooden screens. Their print area is 12 by 12. Like they're using capillary film, like all these things. And I'm like, dude, have you seen a computer or the sunlight in like 20 years? Like what is happening? And they're like, well, this is just the way we've always done it. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like, I'm not knocking what you're doing. Like, that's whatever, you're doing it. But like, go to one conference or go meet up with a couple friends who are in this. And they would be like, oh, you know, you can put emulsion in a scoop coater now and like code a screen. Or, hey, there's these other programs that aren't Corel Draw that you can like make artwork with. You know what I mean? Though there's people that are still like, oh, this is just what I use. And I get like if you learned on it, but it's also like there's new ways of doing things. And I just don't want to see anybody necessarily left in the dust. Like I feel like it sucks to fizzle out that. Like I'd rather like you guys just be like learning constantly.
That's what frustrates me about like conferences and stuff where I see people, and Megan can attest to this, like seeing people just on their phones, like not engaging with everybody. It's like you are wasting so much of your time just sitting there when you could be furthering your business in ways that you don't even know. Like if you're going to do something, even do like
it. And the hard part is like you hear this from the outside from us of like, oh, go meet people and go be part of these groups. It's like, I understand that sounds overwhelming of like, oh, I got to like meet. It sounds like a networking event that you don't want to go to by yourself. But the thing of it is like sign up for things, not necessarily like walk into a room and be like, be my friends. Like me and Ryan met from the Gildan board thing. And it was like, we got selected to be on this thing. And then we met everybody that was involved with that. And now I feel like most of us still talk to each other where it's like, oh, hey, I know you're involved with this kind of printing or this live thing or this whatever. And hey, Ryan, I know you like corn. Like, let's talk about corn. Like,
typical Ryan.
Yeah, it's just typical Ryan. I'm just saying that like you instantly make connections. Yeah. And it's like, Megan, you were selected to be on a panel at Apparelist. And it's like, how many people did you not know that came up to you and were like, oh, you did a great job on the panel. Or, you know, I liked what you said about this or something or whatever. You instantly just made those connections with those people. And then you had that.
Feel all the time where it was like people just come up and start talking to you about the things that you said. And you're like, kind of overwhelmed. I don't know if you ever feel that way, but it's like typically, typically I'm the person that's like going up and trying to like low key interview everyone and learn as much as I can. And the Apparelist, it was like, no, they were coming. Like I had at one point, like a line of people waiting to talk to me at that dinner after. And it was weird. Like, yeah, let's talk. But it was just weird to not be the pursuer, you know?
It sucks to talk about this live because it's like, I want people to know.
Put you on the spot there.
No, I'm saying like, I want people to know, come talk to me. Like, I want to talk to you. What is, I think you were there for this too. There was a girl sitting at the table when we were eating and was like, I was just talking to her about something. She's like, oh, I listened to all your episodes. And I was like, I wish you would have started with that. I wish you would have been like, I know who you are. And, you know, like we can have this conversation. And it's like, what is funny is when people approach me that I've never met before and they don't ask me about praying. They just go like, they're like, oh, how's Grayson, like your son doing? And I'm just like, whoa,
that's weird.
Like, I don't know anything about you. And you're just like, oh, remember last week when you ate this kind of sandwich or something? And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, lead with, whatever. I had this one once, and if the guy's listening, I loved it. It burned in my brain, but it was like, I am a crude human being. Like, if you know me in real life, I have no filter. I am very crude.
You asked me a lot about poop last week.
Well, that's not real, but I'm just saying that, like, I came out, I was at one of the ISSs or something. I came out of the bathroom, and as I was walking out, bathrooms generally have like a little hallway where you can kind of go through. This dude walked by me and was like, basically was propositioning me to be like, oh, hey, let's go in the stall and like whatever. And the funny thing is I was like, played along with it, but I also didn't know that he like knew me. You know what I mean? Like, he knew me from the show, knew I was crude, and said this thing. I just thought it was this random dude being like, hey, let's go knock boots in the booth, like in the bathroom. And I just like, I played along with it, but then he was like, he said something like, oh, like, I loved, whatever, something episode or something. I was like, thank God. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was playing along, and if he wasn't that, he was just some random dude that wanted to go do stuff in a booth, I would have been like, well, I guess I gotta now because I committed. Like, but knowing it was a joke from someone from the show, it's like, whatever.
Right.
But again, I love when people come up and like love the show, or, just know of the show or want to ask questions. Like, it's great.
Totally.
But again, it's a little bit different when they know my personal life too. When I don't know them, I've never met them, whatever. I've had people where I'm sitting at a bar because I don't drink, that'll like bring me an iced tea, and I've never met them before.
That's
and I'm like, God, I love that so much. It's like the fact that you brought me an iced tea just rules in general, but that was your introduction to like saying hey is like pretty sweet. But yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I just genuinely like building a community and making people feel open and welcome to like, let's talk about stuff. Like, even having you guys on, it's like, all right, well, tell me about your inner workings and your family and this and this. And it's like, genuine people who listen to this will connect with you, and they will whatever.
Absolutely.
Like, every week without fail, I get a bunch of DMs that are like, this one super resonated with me. This is where I was in my life when this happened, and now I'm going to think about this and then how to move forward with my shop or whatever. Like, there's probably people that have that where they work for their parents in a print shop, and they're like, oh, I can do this, or I can move forward, or I can grow this company and make my family proud or whatever. Like, the thing of having champagne with your grandparents is like pretty rewarding.
Yeah. Well, and at Apparelist, I actually got a lot of people that were like, oh, I'm planning on working with my brother. What's that like? Or, hey, I want to transition this to my kids. What does that look like for you? And so it was cool to be able to make those connections and tie that and tell them our experiences. I think I'm just used to being the one that's like doing the pursuing. And so it was cool. And I think it's great anytime that we can be learning and teaching each other. That's how we all get better, right?
Always be learning. Yeah. From that event, I've known the dudes and girls and whatever. When I say dudes, I just mean everybody at Apparelist. And that's like run by Printing United. And I've had some pretty strong conversations with them since then and there about teaming up somehow, because there's so much stuff that Printing United has as a knowledge base and things that you can learn, and even being a member benefits that you have, like all these other things, that I'm like, I want to make this way more known. And I was honest with them. I was like, I think half of your problem is just like a lot of people just don't know that this exists. You know what I mean? Like, I'm involved in everything.
I sat down with Josh and we were members, and I still didn't know a lot of that stuff. We brought stuff home, and we were immediately like, okay, here's all these classes that Printing United is doing, things on like color management and even screen printing 101. A new account manager just started last week. And so we're like, great, let's give you this screen printing 101
and
class.
They're available for your, like, if you're a member, they're available for your employees. Yeah. Which is awesome. Or like any legal issues and stuff like that.
Or a lot of the,
I was like, the
OSHA stuff.
That guy's coming on. He's going to be on the show here shortly.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, there's a person from HR there too that we're having on like next week who's literally going to talk about
That's
all
gonna
the
be
HR
great.
issues.
Because I feel like this industry they don't know a lot about the businessy side of stuff because most of us are not coming from a business background.
Well, it's funny. Me and them had a conversation literally yesterday where, and I found this in talking to other industry people who are trying to figure out how to, I don't want to say like wrangle printers and be like, what is it that you guys need necessarily?
Wrangle.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like truthfully, like Print United, their goal is to have this education and have this stuff. But as a company, their goal is to like wrangle printers and be like, what do you guys want to know? Like, what do you need from us? Like, how can we better serve you? Like, how can we whatever? And it's like, there is a sea of information on YouTube and all this other stuff of the like 0 to, let's say, $800,000 mark of like, okay, you are a new screen printer 101, or you're learning to heat press. And it's always some dude in his basement who's like, oh, I'm, whatever. And they learn how to do all those things in between, which you can do. Like, and I use myself as a reference of like, I did probably 12 years of this business where it was me, my best friends, and a couple employees. Totally. And we just fucking printed shirts to the best of our abilities. Like, yeah, we were good at it and we had sweet equipment, but still it was like, we weren't a fucking like we were a company, but we weren't a company. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have HR, we didn't have handbooks, we didn't have rules like at all. It was like, show up at 9, we'll print shirts till 5, we'll go home. Like that's what it was.
I think that's pretty.
There was no, there's no whatever. But that's what I'm saying is there's that threshold of people winging it and learning the basics on how to wing it under this mark. And then it's like, okay, you say you're, now like a, $4 million shop or whatever. And it's like, oh, I have people here that like work here that I'm not friends with that have families and they need 401ks and they need HR and they need handbooks and they need this and that and the other thing. And it's like, those are the people where I feel like gatekeeping still kind of exists unless you're in a small group where it's like, okay, how do we do what we were talking about? How do we do larger scale outbound? Like that's super guarded. Like nobody ever wants to talk about that because they're struggling with it themselves. Right. They're like, okay, I figured out my special sauce on how to do outbound. Like I'm not going to tell a soul because it took me forever to figure this out, which I understand. But it's also, there's that. And there's like the stuff like Jeffrey Paul was talking about with his speech at Apparelist, where it was about seconds, where it was like, nobody thinks about lean necessarily until you're at a certain point where you're like, okay, I've got 30 people in the shop who are walking from A to B. How do I cut down seconds so that at the end of the year, I save, $10,000 in payroll because they didn't have to walk an extra 5 feet to grab a pair of scissors or this or that or the other thing. And it's like, those are the things we need like a strong knowledge base on and open the doors to, okay, cool. This is how this is done.
And I think you nailed it. Like YouTube has a trove of that information, but it's like sifting through the shit to find like that gold nugget.
It's all opinions.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, well, this is how we do it. That doesn't mean it's perfect for everybody. And so like having a centralized knowledge base of, these are the things that you need to cover as well as print cool shit. I think it's definitely a big need, like you're saying.
And I think the thing too with like our industry that is always talked about is that it's very, what am I trying to say now? It's, like variable driven, and it's very like, okay, there's a million ways to do things. I think the knowledge base shouldn't necessarily come from one person. Like there's some people that I really look up to when it comes to like inks or something. Like I could be like John McGee, like I'm going to call that guy when it comes to how does this ink perform or how does this happen? Or like a Wally at M&R where I'm like, what's going on with the press? How can I fix this kind of thing? But the truth of it is like what I need 5 of those people. And I need to ask all 5 of them. And I need to take the average of what they all said and put it together and then try that myself and then give them my findings. And then we'll somehow meet an answer, because the truth of it is like I might get a piece of artwork from a customer. You might get a piece of artwork from a customer and 10 other shops might get the same artwork. I guarantee every single one of those prints is going to look different.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all going to be like, if there's no guidelines on sizing, like print size, we're all going to like rough in our mind from a mock-up, be like, oh, that should be 11 wide. And the next guy's going to be like, that's 12 and a half. Next guy's going to say it's 15. Next guy's going to say it's 6 inches or something. And it's like, we're all going to just wing it. I had a case today, actually, where people in the office came in. This is in my own shop, where I accidentally sent an order form to the website and I forwarded it to one of the sales girls, but that same person already reached out in an email at the same. It's like they were proactive and they were doing an email and an order form at the same time.
Yeah.
And the one girl got the email and the other girl got the order form, and they both quoted the same job. And even in my own shop, they did it differently.
Really?
Yeah. Like the quote was a little bit different because one of them thought it was a 4 color and the other one thought it was a 3 color or something. And it was just like this thing of like, in my own shop, it's different. It's got to be different amongst all these other places, to where it's just like, if we can all get on the same page, then this whole industry will lift up, because we're all doing quality stuff, not random shit we figure out on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that also kind of goes
like that. I think that's the goal.
There's like all those, I call them toxic Facebook groups, but toxic Facebook groups that they're all like, well, how do you price this out? Well, it depends on where you're from, buddy. Like Upstate is going to, charge differently than P&M because of location. They're going to charge because corn's expensive, and we got to make sure we get our fill before the harvest. Otherwise the crows come.
Yeah. And the thing with that though, too, is like, I'm in upstate New York in a village and I own my building. I have no rent. I have no whatever. I just pay the taxes once a year, and I own all my equipment and whatever.
Outright? Like outright. You don't even pay mortgage?
I have no mortgage, no nothing.
Okay, Bala.
I'm just saying I own everything. Like I have no payments on equipment. I have no whatever. I own literally everything here. So if I have something like a COVID and people have to stay home, I have no bills other than electric and gas. But if they're not here, I'm not using any electric and gas. Right. So I just pay the fucking land tax and school tax, and that's it. So what I'm saying is, like, you were talking about pricing, like I have my overhead, and then there's a shop who's doing the exact same job, expecting to quote the exact same number to some company, but they might be in LA paying $15,000 a month for their space. Yeah. And they have X amount of employees, whatever. And we're both quoting a shirt for $595. Right. And it's like, how much of the $595 goes in my pocket, and how much of the $595 goes in that person's pocket, because they have crazy amount of overhead.
Just talking all about profitability and seeing
there's no way to do that. People do it all the time, where they go, and I hope they're just looking for a ballpark where they put in like, oh, what would you guys quote a 1,000-piece 3-color or whatever it is? And it's like, don't just take that price and be like, run with it. Be like, all right, well, so-and-so said this price. And it's like, well, that's not necessarily going to work for you. But if you're just trying to be competitive, then it's a whole nother thing.
Well, and we're never trying to like race to the bottom, And so like, if somebody is coming around asking how much would you quote for 1,000 shirts too, it's like, we are really trying to consider that our staff is paid well, not just like living wage, but that they can, we're not out here trying to get yachts, but we're trying to make sure that they can live well. And so that's like our first priority. And so if we can have a minute where it's like, let's get more information from you and really try to develop a little bit of a relationship, instead of just being like, oh, 1,000 shirts, 4-color. Yeah, here's the price. Then that gets us even more in the door, and it becomes, we're not really selling the shirt at that point. We're selling like the take care of you.
It's easier to sell a shirt. And again, we're not selling a shirt, like you said, but it's easier to sell a shirt to somebody that you're like a friend with, or that like you have that established relationship with. It's easier to sell them the $9 shirt versus the $8 shirt if you say, yeah, no, trust me, this is a really good shirt. You're going to like the feel of it. And you have that prior repertoire with them to kind of base that off of. And when,
but like to say that, then to say like, okay, how much are you pricing out for this, and comparing and trying to figure out what your shop is like versus another shop. It's like, I don't even know how you're running. Like, are you a mostly contract shop? Where are you even located? Like, that to us has played a big role too. If you've got a shop that's in a business district, that gets a completely different clientele than like we're right on one of the main streets in our town. So you get a completely different audience there. So there's so many factors of like, how are we like, these are not even the same orchard that we're picking from, let alone apples to apples. How do we even start with that?
What were some things that you guys basically, when you were working for your mom, were like, oh, you know, that can't be that hard. That can't be a thing or whatever. And then when you took over, you were like, oh, this is shit. I didn't quite realize this was as difficult as I thought it was.
Anything financial, like taxes, like sales tax across different states. I know Megan does all the payroll and stuff. So I've been kind of lucky not to have to deal with any of that. Just the cost of running a business and being the one whose shoulders that ultimately falls down onto at the end of the day. Mom always said it's different when it's the last buck stops with you and we're like, yeah, all right, whatever. But now it's like, yeah, no, that makes total sense.
Yeah, because we were managing it for years before we started running it. You know, we got to the point where she was like, I am terrible at managing employees. You guys take care of that stuff. And so she was mostly running like some contract clients and taking care of all of the financial stuff by the time that we took over. But it was still, it still felt different from like managing it, what we were like cosplaying running the shop versus like actually taking over, when it was like, no, actually, if you don't have enough money for payroll or if you don't have enough money to pay your mortgage or whatever, then like this place shuts down. And it's not just making sure your staff is paid, but it's also like, and also 38 years of legacy just goes down the drain and you've totally screwed up. No pressure. Yeah.
We definitely like don't wake up at night at like 3 a.m. panic sweats.
Yeah. We used to make a joke that like we scheduled our panic attacks at 3 a.m. because for like the first year that we were owning.
Well, it's nice when you have a panic attack at 3 a.m. because then you get it over by about 4 and then you got a couple more hours to sleep it off before you go back to work.
Exactly.
It's efficient is what it is.
Yeah, it's the most efficient way to have, like, you should be stressed out about making sure you're efficient at stressing out.
Yeah. It's all that lean panic attacking.
Right. You're like, your panic attack alarm goes off to where you can get up. And then you got to have sour gummies by the side of the bed because sour is what helps the anxiety and the panic attack.
Is that an actual
Christina
thing?
and I were talking about it. Yeah,
it's real.
It's like warheads are a big thing for
it. Like makes your brain like reset, and you won't have as much of a panic attack.
But yeah, I feel like I still text our mom at least once a week to just be like, hey, your voice just came out of my mouth, or hey, like you were right, we were wrong on something. And we do a lot of things way different than she did it.
Which you should to a degree.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully mostly improvements, but we make a lot less people cry around here, I think, than she did.
Still some.
What I think,
usually it's just me.
What I think is something that people don't realize necessarily is, say right now say it was a tough time or whatever, or it's winter and it's slow and all this other stuff. And it's like, yeah, but I'm just saying in general, you're like, okay, I'm just going to make up a number. Say your payroll is, you need to have in the bank account like $10,000 to cover payroll for the week or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
What they don't realize is that you need to have at minimum, and this is just covering payroll, not covering any other expenses. You need to have about $20,000 in sales just to cover the payroll. Yeah. And it's like $20,000 sales. Like it's like, because 50% of that is the blanks and everything else, the garments and whatever.
That's
it's
just
like
for payroll. That's not all your
just
other
payroll.
overheads.
That's not anything else. So if you're like, oh, cool, we got an invoice, like for this week, we had $1,000 invoice paid today. We had a $500 pay tomorrow. We had a $4,000 thing paid this day. It's like, cool. By the end of the week, $8,000 to $10,000 worth of stuff came in. It's like, well, I need to find the other 10 somehow to make sure all this shit's paid for. Yeah. Like, this just is what it is. And they don't really realize that. They're like, oh, it was a slow week. And then like go home and watch fucking Avengers Endgame or something. It's like,
okay, but that was a good movie.
I'm just saying, it's like, that's just kind of the reality is like the owner doesn't necessarily want to say that either, because then it just sounds like, oh, woe is me all the time. But it's kind of like, well, this is the reality. Like if we don't have this come in, then I don't know how I'm going to have it to go out.
To be fair, though, that's like the one of the benefits of not owning the company is like you can check out at 5 o'clock and go home. And I mean, we say this to our staff all the time. It's like usually Megan and I will be doing owner stuff until at least 9 o'clock at night, or whether that's,
I do it at all hours. And till fucking 1 a.m. I might have a message or
like,
this thing or whatever.
We don't get to start talking about owner stuff until everyone else is kind of out the door.
But also the 3 a.m. fucking night terrors is part of it as well. You know what I mean?
That's healthy, though. I'm pretty sure. If your heart rate accelerates, that's good.
It's like that picture of that person who's super old and withered, and it's like, yeah, this is what I look like at 28 or whatever. And it's like, dude, yeah, I totally understand. But to be fair, though, too, is it's like we also get to benefit a ton when things are great. Like,
absolutely,
we get to be like, all right, well, I do own this place and things are running, and I made these systems and processes, and the bills are paid. I want to go to, Iowa for a week and sample some corn and. Hey, dude, I just went to Arkansas, which I like at least 10 people were like, why are you going to Arkansas? And it was beautiful. It was awesome. I went and saw Tyler at TC and his shop was fucking awesome. And then the rest of Arkansas was like, the funny thing is I always attribute to like, I love where I live because it's all like hills and mountains and lakes and everything else. And then I went to Arkansas to hang out with Tyler. I was like, if you were to knock me out and wake up here, I'd be like, I'm home.
Yeah.
Where we were was still hills and mountains and lakes and fucking whatever. And I was like, this just looks like upstate New York right now. Like, I'm sure there's other parts of Arkansas that are different, but it was just like where I was, it was like, this is the same. Like, this is no different. And it was awesome. It was a great trip. And I respect Arkansas, to go there and see how it was. So I do love going to all these different places. Like, I have no issue being like, oh, I'm going to go to Iowa or Nebraska or fucking whatever. It's just cool to see the differences and, go through that whole thing.
So I think that's something that we actually, me more than Ryan, but struggle with, like the idea of like, hey, if you're working until 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that, then like you don't have to clock in at 8 and work until 5. And part of that was because like my mom was that work ethic where it's like, no, you have to be present and show people that you're working, and that's how you're going to get them to work. And so that's always been a big struggle for me where I'm like, yeah, we're doing good, so I'm going to go take a big trip. Like that's just not a thing. We're usually like, no, we have to stay butts in seats so that other people can see us working butts in seats. And so not really getting to do those owner benefit type things.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be better about it, though.
There's an image. I don't necessarily want to call it a meme, but it's like a split in half thing of like a guy sitting at a desk and he's like daydreaming at work of the beach. And then there's a guy on the beach with a laptop thinking about work. And that's literally how it is for us as owners. Like, I can't stop it or I can't shut it off. And it's not a bad thing necessarily. I'm just saying, like, I might be like, oh, I'm going to go take a cruise, or I'm going to do this. Like, literally the entire time, as much fun as I am having and as much relaxing that I am doing, literally the entire time I'm seeing things that remind me of stuff that I need to do, or I'm thinking of like customer ideas, or I'm thinking of sales ideas, or a waitress might come up and ask me something a certain way, and I'll be like, oh, it's a good idea. And I like make a note in my phone of like work stuff. And it's like, it's in a personal relationship when you go visit somebody, if it's long distance, like kind of like how me and Christina is it's like, it's hard to describe to her of like, I'm not trying to hurry up to get away and go back, but like, I'm also excited to get back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with you or whatever. It's just that I am excited to get back at my desk and get in my routine and like work on the things that I was thinking about all week while I wasn't at work.
But isn't that like such a benefit of this job in this industry is like, you get to be excited to go to work, and like not sitting in a cubicle as like a mindless drone or anything. It's like being excited to get back and do it.
I feel like that it's not that I go to work every day or every week or whatever, and it's just this mundane task.
Yeah.
It's like my goal as the owner and your guys' goal as the owners is to constantly be thinking of micro improvements or big picture things. And I might go to Target tonight or something, and like I'll think of something and I'll make a note of it. And like I kind of can't wait to get back to work the next day because I'm like, oh, I want to do this thing that I thought about. And it's like if you're gone for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days a week, that shit builds up where you're like, I want to get back because I want to fucking implement these things I thought about.
So do you
and it's like people don't realize that, I guess.
Do you find that it's easier for you to like implement stuff because you're the sole owner, right?
Yeah.
Is it easier?
I can just do whatever I want.
And so that's, I mean, Megan and I, a lot of times we're on the same page, but it's like when you have a business partner, you have all of these ideas. And I mean, that's why we're up till 9, 10 o'clock talking business, is because we have these ideas and we have to communicate them to each other. But I'm
going to have that 3 a.m. mental breakdown with your partnership talk, because I'm the guy who had a partnership and got out of it and stressed to the bone about the whole thing. And then throughout my life, I've had a couple other partnerships that didn't quite work out well either. So I'm so like, every time I'm like, I learned my lesson. Why do I fucking do this again? And I don't want to knock on, you guys are brother and sister, so you have to fucking love each other. But if you're in a partnership with somebody else, like as much as you say it's cool and it works, I don't envy you in any sense.
No.
I don't know that I would do a spouse or significant other, but like we have a brother in between us, and we have 3 half brothers, and we have said this is the only relationship that we could see making it work as a partnership. There's no, like, the brother in between us is a pastor in Minnesota. Like, there's no way he could even last an hour of like how
I talk in general.
unhinged we are. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have one of our account managers. It's like, the joke is if she tells Ryan to fuck off within the first 5 minutes, like, it's going to be an unhinged day. And that's just not something, our pastor brother would go for. So I definitely can appreciate, like, it is not for the faint of heart, and you have to have a very specific relationship, I think.
But then also we're very much on the same page when it comes to the future of the company. And like you said, at the end of the day, we're still brother and sister. Like, that relationship is always going to be there. Having like another person, even if it's not a sibling, just a friend that you went into business with, you guys could have totally different ideas of where you want this thing to go. And and I
think it's exactly what you just said, Ryan, is like, what is going to make a good partnership is if it, at bare minimum, you guys have, this is our mission and this is our end goal. Because everyone I've ever been into, like a partnership, has always been like, oh, well, this is the rough idea of what we're going to do, no end goal. And eventually what happens is, in my mind, I have a goal, and in their mind, they have a goal for how they want things to go, and they're not the same. And then you butt heads on decisions of, should we expand? Should we not expand? Should we do this? Should we not? Oh, I'm kind of sick of doing that. I don't want to do that anymore. Well, this was the whole fucking idea in the beginning. Why are we going in another direction? And like, this doesn't make this is not who we are. This is not how we signed up for this. You're going in a tangent. Why am I supposed to start doing that tangent with you when that's not even remotely what I want to do?
We had that problem with me more than Ryan with our mom, as like, we're managing a lot of the day-to-day operations and we're keeping things functioning, but ultimately she was still the big boss. Like, she and I would butt heads all the time, and she would talk inappropriately to usually to an employee or something, where she would just be like, sit down and shut up, or I don't know if she ever did that, whatever. But it's like, I would be like arguing for like, no, this is not how we want the company. We don't want to be as a boss. This isn't how we want to be, client facing or something. But like, her perception, was rooted in her own generation. It's
I was
rooted
going to say
in
it's
how she's
generational.
doing
Like
it.
your grandma's generation was pulling out six guns and
Absolutely.
shooting each other, and then your mom's
How old do you
was
think we are?
your mom's was wrapping people on the knuckles with rulers, and then now
Yeah.
it's you can't say anything without offending
She
somebody.
also didn't
So
want to
it's-
grow at all. She was like, if we can just maintain, whereas we are very much in a growth mindset. And so like butting heads on that. And even like, she didn't see the purpose for like travel to like travel to the ISS shows.
Yeah,
or
she thought
anything.
it was a paid vacation.
And it's like, no, this is how you stay up with technology. This is how you stay up with your network. This is how you stay up with, you know, everything that's going on in the industry. And I think that has been a huge boon for us, is like being able to just talk to people and have that network.
Yeah.
I think she sees it now, but when we were in the thick of it, it was just arguing a lot, just mostly between her and I.
Well, it's because the proof is in the pudding. Like you need
Yeah.
to prove yourself, and they think that you're just going to jump in and take over this company and like, oh, you're right. You think you know what you're talking about. Like they were expecting you to like kind of crash and be like, oh yeah, you were right. We should just maintain. Where when you guys both are smart and came out and you're like, oh no, we can do this. And Ryan's like, oh, we can get away from carbon copy fucking pieces of paper to the internet. And they're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. This works now.
She's kind of not jaded, but like at some point you're like, I'm just tired. I'm tired of the grind for decades. And so by the time that she was ready to retire, you know, she already had like 1.5 feet out the door.
She had that senioritis.
Yeah,
but she by the sounds of it, she fucking earned it.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
she came in,
absolutely.
she came in from your grandparents and fucking saved the day and grew it to where it was and was just like, you know what? Hey, I had my run. This shit ruled, but like it's your guys' turn.
Yeah, that's absolutely how she felt. And she absolutely deserves it too. She, you know, is now playing pickleball 50 hours a week or something like that.
She's got the fourth generation right now.
Life. Yeah, she does. She went and picked up all of her kids. So she's just living the good life and she deserves it. Absolutely. But like, I think it definitely, it's not just like an easy, like, yeah, we are good friends. We were college roommates, whatever, we'll get along and it'll be fine. Like there's so many different intricacies to make sure that you're on the same page with everything. And the desire to make sure that that communication keeps happening of like, if, you know, if there's any reason we should be talking about anything, then we got to make sure to make communication a priority or things get completely lost.
What are you guys looking to do now? Like that I mean, how long have you been owners, I guess?
2 years. 2 years as official owners, but like Megan said, we've been running the show for about 5 or 6. But I mean, right now we're trying to pay down some equipment that we got last year, and really nail down, like right now our production team is phenomenal. And so we're trying to really nail down our sales team too, to where it just runs as this like smooth engine that we don't really have to touch as much as we currently are.
Like, do you feel like you guys are just trying to necessarily correct the boat, or are you like, oh, these are bigger, better plans that are going to take us to the next level? Like go from an X million shop to X.
Like we are a different business than we were 5 years ago and 5 years before that. And like, I feel like we're in a constant evolution. And, you know, right now it seems like we've got a ton more corporate clients than we have ever had. 5 years ago, I would not even be able to tell you a corporate client we had. Right. And now they probably
that seems like the goal, you know?
Yeah. And they take up a huge chunk of our business and our workload. And so I think making sure we can be scalable and still be serving people is really important to us. We did a lot of learning on like how to get automation in our shop and everything. So now we have, you know, some ideas of equipment we want to get, but more we're just focused on like making sure if we're scaling correctly, with like the same level of service in mind, you know, because I think that's what people are coming to us for is the service and the kind of white glove stuff. I don't know. Ryan, is there outer space?
Outer space, definitely. I think, like Megan said, is like maintaining the legacy that our grandparents and our mom had put before us. And so like, for me, it's super important that like our minimum order is one. We won't do any less than one. Because like,
half a shirt.
like you never know, you never know where that one is going to go. We don't turn away business because it's one piece, because, you know, that one piece can turn into 10,000 the next day. And so it's like maintaining the legacy while continuing to grow organically, while continuing to treat our staff correctly and really push them to like educate themselves more in the industry. I don't know. It's growth, but sustainable. Like, I don't know, there for a couple of years, we had like 25% growth year over year. And it was just exhausting.
And that was stressful. Yeah.
And then you run into a weird ass year like last year where it's kind of, who knows what's happening. I mean, that's still the case, but.
We have an accounting manager and our sales director, both that really focus a lot more on data than we ever have before. And so that's really, because then we can hone in on what we want growth to look like and be able to, instead of catching falling apples, we're really focusing on the clients that we actually want to be working with. So I think that is probably our mindset, is trying to print more cool stuff with cool people instead of having to deal with some of the obnoxious clients or whatever.
You can call them assholes.
Yeah.
We call them red flag customers. We just see them and then we're like, nah, no thanks.
And so we really try to, I think that's our goal, is try to make it really tailored to what kind of growth we really want to see, instead of
just whatever comes.
Yeah.
I get that. And I mean, I've seen that just from like meeting you both. You know, I feel like you have strong suits into what it is you want to do. And like Megan, you seem to have a kind of like a goal in mind with that kind of thing. We were talking about some of those corporate client kind of things, and it seems like, hell yeah, fucking go for it. Like, you know, is Ryan's focus one thing and your focus another thing, or are you guys stepping on your toes ever?
We're pretty darn complimentary, actually. Like where Megan is like the analytical, but also like artsy, whatever. Like the exact flip side of that is a lot of what I handle, and like she doesn't like doing social media or any of like the goofy shit that we do. Whereas like that's me to a T, is goofy
Ryan
shit.
likes the canon stuff.
I was going to say, you do the like will it cannon or whatever?
Yeah, will it cannon. We just put random shit in our t-shirt cannon and let her rip.
I think that's great. I think you should do that more often.
Yeah.
The ones that I've seen have been good.
The one that he got like the top views of all time was he cannon tongs. And it was because he did the like dad like clap clap thing, that you have to do.
Well, I had to make sure they were good tongs.
You had to test their test clicks. Yeah, you got to make sure it works.
Yeah, we went through like traction and really made it clear. I know it really served us well in a lot of different areas and gave us
so many people. It either is like, hell yes, this is what we're doing, or it's like,
or
I would rather die.
Yeah.
And like,
I totally get that. Yeah.
I really wanted to dive into it. And then the thing is I did the audiobook, and the guy, like, it's something where if you were going to assist suicide, you would play traction audiobook. And it would help. Like, it would get the job done, I feel like.
We did it as a group.
See, we always did over breakfast. So try doing a chapter at a time over breakfast or something.
And again, that's where
like one of the
where it's easier for us because we have
go to a meeting and then have another meeting and then have some more meetings.
Yeah, we don't really do a lot of that stuff. But what is it, like the visionary or the what's my role? The
executor, I don't know.
Yeah. Executioner.
Executioner, that's what it is.
But it's like one person is like more big picture and everything. And then one person is more day-to-day operations. And that was like naturally what we were already doing. And so it more just like affirmed like, yep, keep doing that. And here's some other guidelines that could help. Because it did like the core values thing. And I use the core values all the time. Like if somebody wants to whine or complain or whatever, I'm like, okay, but how does that, are you being a solutions engineer right now? Because that's our core value, one of them. It's like, are you being a solutions engineer or are you just being like whiny and you're trying to complain? Right. So I think it helped us in some ways, but a big thing was like, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. And this is the best way to be complimentary. I think it becomes harder. Becomes harder when it's like that you have to be both people.
All of that stemmed for us from like growing up together, where she like forced me to put on dresses and forced me to like work a silly little daycare with her or something. It's just natural for me to listen to her.
When he follows along with what I say, then things work out really well.
Yeah, and I, not to be like super vulnerable, but like I had kind of like a heart to heart with my friends who also my managers, like beginning of this week, end of last or whatever it was, where basically like I am the only person. So like they are running the day to day and doing this and this and the other thing. But there are all these like little to big tasks that are my responsibility and whatever. Yeah. Well, I got to a point where I kind of had a lot longer of a list than I should have had, or I had things that my thing is like when people come to me, my instant reaction is, okay, how do I fix it? Or give me a second to like, they come to me and say something and my instant reaction is like a sigh and like, okay, like I'm like, I'll get on it or something. And then I don't elaborate. It's just because me personally, like I'm absorbing it. I might need like a day or an hour or something to like figure out what it is I need to do to fix that or add it to the list or whatever.
I feel that.
And I'm finding that I need to maybe communicate more of like, hey, I fully heard you. I understand. I will make this a priority or I will add it to this list and I will get to it when I can and actually show steps that you are working towards that thing instead of just adding it on a list of 145 other things you got to get done. Right. You know, like I can't really show you guys right now. Well, I guess I can show you guys right now, but like this was something I had a talk with some people in my office the other day. Here, hold on, I'm going to move my camera. For the people listening, I'm sorry. I'll describe it.
He's shaking his camera.
This is my casting couch in my office.
I don't think you're allowed to have one of those.
This is the old yellow chair that I don't sit in anymore. But anyway, this is a bunch of boxes and just random shit that are all projects where it's like on the other side of that box is a part for the air compressor I have to put on. Under that box is a light that I got to put in the basement area so skunks don't come in. I got a box above that is like bird spikes because we had a bunch of birds on our front porch that just shit all over our landing. And then there's like another box is a fan I got to install. And then there's parts for another machine. And it's just like, and then there's a rack in another room that's just a bunch of other projects that I need to do as the owner that I need to find time to do.
You need a husband.
Yeah.
I need a husband. Right. I need a honeydew list.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying like
this is all stuff
that is just physical tasks that I need to do. That's not like the other to-do list of you're an owner and you have these other things that you want to do. Like my computer has a stuff to do list that's just like, you know, it's just gonna be random shit. Like, oh, you got to call the IRS or you got to do this thing or that thing or whatever. And when people come to me in the middle of the day and they're like, hey, this is broken, we need to fix this, or this thing happens, like I just go, okay. And then they feel like dismissed because I'm like, all right, I'll add it to the list. But like what they don't understand is like, I am trying so hard to A, appease everybody, but B, like I am trying to do these things. But I look at it as like, you just added another pebble to my mountain.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, I got more shit to do. But then also I, as a personal human being, am trying to like have a life and like, you know, travel for something to learn about screen printing this or that or the other thing. And it's like, I'm trying to do all these things and I'm quote unquote busy, but like, I really should like fucking, when I get to work, like focus on like say 5 tasks that I'm going to knock out today. But the truth of it is, as a sole owner, like you guys might be able to take this list and be like, all right, we're going to do 5 things, but Ryan's going to do 2 of them. You're going to do 3 of them. And then you can meet about what the next things are tomorrow. I sit at my desk and so say you guys are both there and Ryan's like, all right, I'm going to tackle these 5 things today. You're both going to say a customer comes in or something else happens during the day that someone needs to focus on it. One of you can go do those things and the other person can work on those tasks.
Exactly.
If someone walks in my shop that needs my attention or I have to do something, those tasks are out the fucking window. Like they just don't happen today. And that's the thing is like, it's just like, I mean well, I want to do these things, but what I need to do now is just be like, hey, because my thing is someone will come in and be like, yeah, I'll do it later today. Like I have full intentions to do it later today, but then something will happen or I got to pick my kids up or I got to do this other thing and that doesn't happen today. Then they're upset with me because I said it would get done today and it did not get done today.
See, I've been called out specifically, like word for word, what you're talking about by a couple of our managers. And it's like, we feel dismissed when you just say, I'll get to it. And like, I've had to make a conscious effort to be like, yep, here's where it's at in my list. Be conscious though that things keep getting added and removed and shuffled and all that. And I want to give it my diligence, but
yeah, they really talked to me through it. And I understand fully now that it's more showing that you are doing these things and not just stacking it on a pile and being like, hey, yeah, maybe eventually. And that's my thing is like, I just internalize it. Like, I'm just like, oh, it's on me. I'll get it done. And like, I'm thinking about it and I'm stressing over it and I'm having panic attacks at 3 a.m., but they don't necessarily see that I'm trying to do those things. It's more, oh, Dylan, I told him I needed this done. And then he's just going to go to Florida for a week. And it's like,
yeah, I think that's something that our mom like really struggled with, but never communicated, that we get to really benefit from having each other versus she could go home and talk to her husband, who it's like he's a silent partner, but he doesn't know how to do any of this stuff, doesn't know any of, he had a full-time job beyond this. And so it was mostly just venting. She's still, all of the emotional, mental, physical labor was still on her shoulders by herself versus, even if a lot of it is on my shoulders or Ryan, we can still go to each other and be like, I need help. I need you.
Like, I don't have the mental capacity to do this today. Can you help me out?
Yeah. Or even just understanding that like owner shit feels different. Like, knowing that whole buck stops here isn't just by yourself, that it's like we can share the 3 a.m. panic attacks.
And then also in and of itself, being able to vent to each other. Like if you're a sole owner, like I know like you have buddies in the industry that are also owners and like you can vent to them about it. But like at the end of the day, if we just sit down and we can vent to each other, we talk to Christy as well. Like she calls us like at least once a week just to vent. And it's like, having somebody to vent to is huge for all of those 3 a.m. panic attacks.
But I also feel like part of that, to be fair, is like, I want to vent to other owners and get their perspective. But even to a degree, like, yeah, it might help me settle my brain a little bit. But what I also need to do is I need to vent to my friends who are also my management team so that they know where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like they feel better about what I'm doing if they know where I'm thinking and what I'm thinking about doing. And I think that was the problem, is just I was keeping it all in. And every time they come in, they're like, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm fine. And it's like, I'm that dog at the table where the room's on fire being like, I'm fine. As you see my like sideburns getting grayer and grayer and like all these other things, it's just like, I really am fine. Like I'm making it through. It's just, there's a lot involved.
We do a weekly management meeting where we touch base with every single man, like just our entire management team comes together and we kind of touch base on like how things are going in each department. And then if we have anything, we're able to, kind of lay out where our priorities are for the week. And if there's any issues that we're currently facing that we need their help with or need to offload onto them, we do that. And it's just like communicating with them. And like you said, being able to lay it out how your brain is currently stacked and what your priorities are.
Yeah.
But even like to Dylan's point, like I struggle with being vulnerable even in those meetings where they will regularly be like, what do you need? What do you need from us? And I'll just be like, I'm good.
I also
I'm fine.
don't want, what I think it is really is I don't want them to feel burdened by what it is I'm saying, because then they just get more stressed out. Like if I mention anything about money, then all of a sudden all of them think like, oh, is my job at jeopardy? Like I would rather hold that burden than to have them all be like, is my job secure? Or something along the lines of, like I don't know, it could be anything like, oh, this one job is really stressing me out because I'm trying to work on it and this thing, and they're demanding this, and they're, asking you about getting this a little bit cheaper than this. And then they're like, well, they might think like, well, why am I putting so much effort into this when they beat us up on price so much or something? You know what I mean? It's like, I'd rather keep those thoughts between me and management or just me than to spread something where my mind might be in the right place, but they might not be thinking about it the way that I'm thinking about it. And then it just makes everybody frustrated and it turns into whatever. So I don't know. It's just something that I'm working on. I mean, right now it's top of mind because I just had this conversation, but I think for other shop owners, it's kind of like maybe just fucking break down and have this conversation with the people that you can have it with and move on.
It's hard to like show your humanity, I think.
Well, it's just hard to be vulnerable in general. It's hard to be like, hey, like, it's hard to be, I don't know how to say this, but like forever, when I was in my marriage, I don't want to say man of the house or the one who bared the burden of the responsibilities or this and this. And then when something came along, I'm just like, yep, that's cool. Shove it down, shove it down, shove it down. And I'd be like, well, I got to do this. I got to do this. And I always had to be like, I felt like I always had to be tough. And like, you're not like, oh, you can be vulnerable. You can, whatever. And then that whole thing happened and fell apart and whatever. And then I realized, oh, I do have to talk about my feelings because those 3 a.m. panic attacks were super strong. And I was like, oh, my body's actually telling me like I need to figure these things out. And then I try to figure those things out. But then I also still harbor some of that shit at work of like, okay, well, yep, that happened. Ooh, just shoving it down. And then now I'm like, no, everyone around me is actually telling me to just like talk to them about it.
Is part
like
of
they
that,
want to know.
Like, because I feel that too. And I know like toxic masculinity and all that is a thing. But like, is part of it like being vulnerable, at least for me, like to the management team or my staff, then I feel like they wouldn't see me as like a boss anymore. And so like being able to balance vulnerability and respect, I think is a struggle for me because like I know I need to be vulnerable.
It's a huge struggle for me too, because I feel like if I was to tell everyone all of my vulnerabilities all the time, they'd be like, wow, he's just a little bitch boy. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not to say that to hurt anybody's feelings, but that's what it feels like. Like, to be completely honest, it just feels like it's like, who whiny fucking guy. Like, I don't want to be around him and all he does is complain or whatever. I'd rather just be like, nope, I got it. And just like,
I feel that 100%.
And move on. When in reality, it's like, I just want to cry right now. Like, I just want to fucking vent, or I want to go for a walk, or I want to just like, I'm fucking real too. And one of the conversations I had to have is like, I love this place. Like, I love this industry. I love all these things. And when people say stuff negative about it, I take it personally, but I can't say that necessarily. I just have to be like, yep, I understand. It's like, it's just more shoving down. And it's like, I don't know. That shit's real. Like, people can be like, oh no, everything's free flowing and feelings are all valid and whatever. But it's like, sometimes you open your mouth, you get fucking punched in the teeth.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the reality. Like, you can say it's free to say whatever you want, and then you say it, and it's like, well, fuck, I learned that I shouldn't say that ever again. And it's like, where do you toe the line of what you say and what you don't say? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the real answer is. I'm just finding out as I go, and it is what it is. I don't have the answer is what I'm trying to say. It's just, Ryan, I would say I did find out that basically it is definitely good to talk about feelings with people that you feel like you can actually talk about. But there are some things too where it's like, is this worth the trouble?
Yeah.
Necessarily.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It is what it is. But moving on, I wanted to ask you guys one last thing. Christina mentioned, do you have any employees that have been around for all 3 generations?
No.
Well, Kim,
not of ownership,
probably is close.
We have some that knew all 3 generations.
Yeah.
Like,
but our grandparents had retired by the time that she came on.
Like, I think Grandpa was 91 when we built the building. Yeah. And so he got to see a lot of the current staff. Grandma had passed away by then. But like anybody new that comes on, they only know Kay and us.
Was there any staff between these changes that were like, I'm not working under them?
I think there's people that probably kind of thought that, but because we had already been managing for a while, that probably helped the transition a lot.
Right. You weren't just like the kid who walked in as the manager.
And
all
we
of a
knew what
sudden.
we were doing. We've done every single job in the shop. And so like that lends itself to that respect of, oh no, they actually know what I am going through right now, albeit on a different scale. I think we definitely had some trash that took itself out before we officially bought in.
Took itself out.
Yeah, it's self taking out trash. It's great. I mean, we definitely had a list of like day one priorities, and at the top of that list was get rid of this one person. And he took himself out, and that's fine.
He listened to Traction.
Yeah,
but like I think in our first year we had a lot of people that kind of expected us to just jump into the same position as our mom did. And so there were moments that, especially Ryan, because he's like goofy and whatever, had to be like, hey guys, I have been doing this specific job of owning this company for less time than you have been doing the job that you're in. Like kind of vulnerability, but also like, can you give me a little bit of grace? I am also very new at this specific role. And so I think those conversations helped get people to go like, oh yeah, and realize, but nobody was like, I'm jumping ship if they take over, because they were kind of used to us already taking over.
Do you guys happen to have any shop hacks you want to share?
Shop hacks. I mean, I don't work production nearly as much as Megan does.
It doesn't have to be production. It could be sales. It could be office work. It could be anything.
Because that one that Nick was telling us about last week, he brought in what was it, like a sander or whatever? We just brought that in to clean our print grip, and so
like a sponge on a sander to take off the lint on the print grip.
And so I don't think we've even used it yet, but that one was really, really awesome, and I'm pumped to start using that.
My shop hack for cold outbound is I like to gamify cold outbound stuff. And so I have one that I call MapQuest, and I don't use MapQuest. I use Google Maps, but it's a quest using a map. And so I will go to like,
very clever.
Thank you. Like what I feel is like an underserved area near us, and just zoom in and I'll click on every single business in that area, and track down emails and just send out a cold email like, hey, like, let's link up, and we make cool shit.
We're literally doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But in just like our actual cities. So now I have to call it MapQuest.
ADHD brains.
But we use a hunter.io. Have you heard of this? Good.
Same. That's exactly what we're using.
Good. For those of you listening, hunter.io, you plug in the website, you click go, and it gives you
it gives you the emails associated with that website.
Yeah.
Like the
So that's the one I'm doing.
My shop hack is going to be what I said this in Nashville too: hire moms.
Accurate.
Because moms, you can have them working like from 9 to 3, mom hours, and they can get as much done in that time as somebody working full time, if not more. They already know how to multitask and run a tight ship. So hire moms. That's my
or they don't.
Or they don't. Do you have or they don't stories?
I don't know. I'm just saying in general. Not everybody has their shit together. Not all moms are great.
That's true. Not all moms are great. But if you get the right moms, then they're already used to doing 10 things at once.
We just had I just had Brigade screen printing on here a couple episodes ago, and that was his entire thing. Like he was like the only man, and it was like him and a bunch of moms. And he said the same thing. He was like, yeah, this rules. Like they all do their own thing. They leave for their kids. They do this. They come back. They get shit done. Like they're used to wrangling people and getting things done.
And not sitting around on their phone and like they see something that needs to be done and then they just do it instead of
ask. You need like a battle hardened mother who had like 3 children that knows what the hell to do. Yeah, triplets all at once.
30-minute bathroom breaks, like those don't happen with moms.
Right, they got to speed pee because they got to get back out, or the kitchen's on fire.
They're like, I got 2 minutes where nobody entered the bathroom, and I got to use the bathroom. That's like all I need. I'm golden for the next 5 hours.
Exactly. All right, quick takes. What has, and you guys can answer together because you're both at the same place. What shirt has your shop printed that you were the most proud of?
That one?
I really like this
The
one.
one you're currently
Yeah.
Sweet. I think the Medusa one for me.
Medusa was good.
Yeah, last year we did a bunch of different like monsters, and Medusa was like a 6-color print that we then turned into like a giant patch and then embroidered on top of the patch like a stained glass look. And so it was just like a wildly complicated mixed media, and it always draws a ton of attention.
Hell
It's
yeah,
fantastic.
that's awesome. If you could snap your fingers and change one major thing about your shop, what would it be?
Ooh, Ryan's hairline.
What hairline? There's no
That would be the
hairline.
one thing you would pick?
No.
I'd get him a hat and pick something else.
No. What's the thing you would change? I don't know.
Probably offices or meeting room.
Yeah.
Like
or pay off all that equipment and start fresh from no debt.
Yeah. I mean, we still have some land just to the side of us that we could build more onto. So I think.
Yeah, I would say paying off all of our debt would probably be it.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, that always seems nice to start fresh.
Like the idea of not even having a mortgage. Oh my gosh. That sounds amazing.
Pretty sweet, to be honest.
That sounds sexy.
I mean, to be fair, I bought this building for cheaper than I bought my first auto, but also I have put a shitload into it. But the nice thing is with that is it's as I want. You know what I mean? Like I bought the building, it was an old train station, it was fucking dilapidated. I mean, the bones were solid, everything was good. I could live in here and work in here. And there were years where basically like me and my crew were in a room that was literally just like rough drywall with a fucking kerosene heater in the middle of the room. Like, or our toilet froze because we had no heat in this room. Like, that's how we got to where we are now, where like the complete everything's renovated is, okay, we made enough money from these jobs. Let's like finish the drywall. Okay, we had enough money for these jobs. Let's put in heat or, you know, whatever. And it was like, that's what I always tell people is they're like, oh, I'm going to go buy this building. And it's like, yeah, you immediately jump from 1 to 100 of like, it's got all this beautiful this and this and this. I was like, buy some piece of shit over in the corner that no one's looking at, because you can get in there as long as you have electric and running water and a roof over your head. You can fix that shit as you go. Like, you don't have to do it right now. Like, buy it for, you know, 1/10 of what you were going to buy something else for, and then just put money into it. Like, who's coming by your shop? Like, I mean, I get if you have a ton of walk-ins, but like I have zero. Like, we didn't have a front door for customers to walk in for a couple of years because there was no door. Like, that's what I mean is like nobody was coming here. They all just, we went on the internet and made a beautiful website. And then people thought we had this like gorgeous warehouse. And it was like, no, we were in a fucking shanty. We're like lighting candles to see where we were going. Like,
that's so smart.
You know what I mean? Like, just build it as you go, and then you have no debt because you're just like, oh, cool, we have an extra $1,000 this week. Let's like do this thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's my advice: is buy a piece of shit and fix it up. Top 4 favorite movies of all time.
Ooh.
Empire Strikes Back.
It tells a lot about a person.
Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption.
Perfect.
I shouldn't have.
It's basically a perfect movie.
I shouldn't have started so fast.
Yeah, you went in hot.
You went Empire and Shawshank.
I mean, do you blame me? Those are great.
No, you're good.
Empire, Shawshank.
I mean, I'd argue Empire, but Megan, what do you got?
I'd say the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice. Because I watch it all the time. Probably like Lord of the Rings is probably up there. We started doing that.
Appreciate you.
You're gonna hate me for this one. Grease 2 is one of my top favorite movies.
I hate you. It just tells a lot about you.
I love some bad cinema. I love it. What else?
What to put it in your top 4 of all time?
She's obsessed.
Oh my gosh,
it's disgusting.
Maybe like the 4th would be maybe the Hamilton, like the live showing of Hamilton. You know, the original
Pride and Prejudice, Grease 2, Hamilton.
I'm all over the place.
I'm kind of offended that Lord of the Rings is in the same category as those other 3.
She's a diverse girly, you know.
I get it.
Because like if I had a fifth one, it would probably be something horror related. Because
I'm not even in that world. I don't do
I'm
horror
very
movies.
into spooky too.
I do creature features, but I don't do humans on humans stuff. That's I can't do it. I have
also
nightmares.
Like bad horror movies, or
I need to watch cartoons after that shit.
That's fine.
I just don't like when people are like walking into a house and like fucking slashing people or stabbing people and stuff. I'm like, God, this makes me feel disgusting. Why are you excited about this? This is not something I want to watch in any capacity.
The gorier it is, the more like The Boys. That's a TV show. It's not a movie.
Oh, I know. I've seen The Boys, but that to me is not a horror genre.
No, it's like gory as hell.
Yeah, but that's just for the entertainment. That's like superheroes blowing each other up because that's what they would be like in real life. That's not like
I wouldn't classify
that's not like
horror.
someone walking into another person's house and just like murdering them and their children, and then like it's a whole movie about it. It's like, no, gross. I don't want to do this. All right, Ryan, you got your last two.
All right, so we got Empire, Shawshank. I'm going to say Newsies just for the nostalgia, and I need a musical in there. And then number 4, I love musicals.
They're terrible.
Number 4, let's go. The First Time. Oh God, no. Well,
it's not that deep, dude.
We'll go for the goof and say Blade.
It defines your whole personality.
Blade?
Yeah, we'll go for the goof.
Dude, I'm with you on the Blade.
Especially just like the opening scene of Blade when they're raving.
Dude, fucking Whistler is the best character ever. I was just like being like, Whistler.
Blade Trinity, too, then had like young Ryan Reynolds in it. But it's just like, I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it's weird to have like Ryan Reynolds as he is now. And then it's like, but remember when he was like Van Wilder and like random side character in the Blade series?
Remember when he got married to Sandra Bullock?
No. Oh,
who got married to Sandra Bullock?
Ryan Reynolds
did?
In a movie. It was.
Oh, yeah. Well, what was that?
She like needed a green card or something.
In real life.
No.
He was in a lot of good movies. All right, last question. Would you rather have a pause button, a fast forward button, or a rewind button for your life?
Rewind.
Pause.
Are you like fuck, what's that movie called? Or that show as a kid? Was it Clock Stoppers? I always thought about that when I was a kid. If I had this like watch, I could hit the button and everyone would pause and I could just do whatever the fuck I wanted. Like you could rob a bank or you could do this or you could whatever and then hit on pause and everyone just goes back to doing whatever they're doing.
Oh, see, as a parent, I'm like rewind.
I'm just saying, like, as an example, like you could do whatever you wanted to do and then you could just come back into the same position and then like unclick it. And then it's just
like Ryan, when he goes home and starts doing his like, his parenting or panic attacks or whatever, that's all he does when he goes home.
One and the same.
Games. Yeah, when I go home, I've got twice as many kids, and then I start homesteading or doing like random other, like I have this giant garden and chickens and all these other like side
makes sense now, the Pride and Prejudice and all those other things.
Okay, but rewinding to like when your kids were 2 and like being able to relive,
But like that's the only part that I would rewind.
I don't want to relive it. I in my mind, when I say rewind, it's not go back, do those things you want to do, and then come back to where you are. I'm saying like you just go back and stay there.
Oh,
like
I just need more hours in the day. I think.
Yeah.
Put it in it that way. Yeah, we'll pause because then I can at least keep him as a 6-year-old for right now.
Yeah,
there you go.
They were cute then. And they grow up and they're still cute, but I'm in the phase now of I'm just transportation and dollars. My kids are teenagers and they just want to hang out with their friends and do their own thing. And I'm just there to make sure they don't die.
I'm not ready for that. I don't think.
Me neither.
I'm just not ready.
It's good and bad. Like it's good because I see them making their own decisions and being social and all these other things. I had a breakdown a little while ago where I asked my dad about it because I felt like my kids don't like me or pay attention to me anymore. They do love me and they do want to hang out with me, but more so they just want to live their own life and discover things. He's like, that's just what they do. He's like, they'll come back to you eventually and they'll want dad to be around and they'll want dad to help them build things or fix things or whatever. He's like, right now you just need to be there for them and let them have their social experiment, and they're going to fall and you need to be there when, your daughter breaks up with her first boyfriend or girlfriend, and you need to be there for your son when he learns to drive and whatever. And it's just like, that's it. It's what it is. It's where I'm at right now. Like, I could go home. The benefit I have now is I can go home and like watch TV or play video games or go mow the lawn or whatever. And like my kids are just alive, and I can be like, hey guys, I'll be back in 2 hours. And they're like, okay.
You were gone?
I've heard something.
Yeah,
I've heard
I've had
where
that.
it's like,
my son's just like, oh, is Libby here? I'm like, she's been at a friend's for 2 days. Like, what are you talking about?
But there was something where it's like, when your kids are teenagers, you play more of like a mentor role in parenting versus like the age that our kids are at. It's more like a guardian, like just
you're just making sure they don't die or eat something they're not supposed to eat. Yeah,
and like don't grow up to be an asshole. Versus like at this point they're starting to learn adultness.
Where they're at now is the don't be an asshole, or like, hey, like you need to make sure you shower, or you need to not say yeah every other word or something. You know, like that's where I'm at, is just like, my daughter is like crude like me, but like 10x, where she's at the shock value port, where she just says random shit. Like, she'll come up to me and whisper something horrible in my ear and just walk away, like prance away. And I'm just like, what is happening? You don't. I promise you don't. It's not cool. Like, at first it's funny. You're like, oh, that's hilarious that she says that thing. And then when it just keeps happening, you're like, I created a monster and this is terrible. And I need to like tell her, like, I need to be vulnerable and be like, hey, and eventually you're going to realize that none of your friends think that's funny, and you're the creepy guy talking about dick jokes constantly. So just don't do it. On that note, I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining me today. And I love what you guys are doing, and you're both great people. And I hope to see you at more events and learn from you and talk to you more and be crude to each other behind closed doors. Apparently Megan absorbed that I talked about poop. I don't remember.
If there's
it probably happened. I don't remember. I don't know.
Because you were asking about my gluten allergy.
Oh yeah. We were talking all about how that affects you. Yeah, for sure.
Well, if you ever need corn, you know where to find us.
Lots of it. Yeah. It doesn't go away. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, and I will see you later.
Awesome.
See ya.
Later.